We will start the press conference by Minister Motegi. Minister, the floor is yours. If I may start, regarding my diplomatic schedule, there are two aspects. First of all, from today until the 4th of October, Sunday, I shall be traveling to Portugal, France, and Saudi Arabia. Since the inauguration of the Suga administration, this will be the first overseas visit. Between the European countries and the Middle East countries, I have had many telephone calls. But in the global community, active mutual exchanges of high-level persons are resuming in order to prepare for the post-corona world. Together with European states and with Saudi Arabia, the presidency of G20 of this year, I wish to meet in person and to engage in in-depth discussions, particularly between Europe, where we share fundamental values. Our G7 partner is France. I shall be meeting the foreign minister, and the EU presidency of the first half of next year between the foreign minister of Portugal. I will talk about the cooperation to realize a free and open Indo-Pacific, as well as cooperation about the novel coronavirus. I wish to exchange opinions about emergent regional affairs of the global community in France. I shall meet Director General Azoulay of UNESCO, headquartered in Paris. I intend to exchange of opinions in areas such as education, culture, and science, where Japan has been a longer contributor, and tell her the position of Japan. With regard to Saudi Arabia, because we were the presidency of G20 last year, we want to confirm our cooperation towards the success of the upcoming G20 summit planned in November. We will talk about bilateral cooperation. In particular, we will talk about reinforcing cooperation between Japan and Saudi Arabia. I want to talk about the Middle East regional affairs undergoing major transformation, including normalization of relations between Israel and UAE and Bahrain.
Another mentioning, it will be next week on October 6th. The Japan, United States, Australia, and Indian foreign ministers will be held in Tokyo with the attendance by State Secretary Pompeo, Australian Foreign Minister Payne, and Indian Foreign Minister Jaishankar. It will be the second foreign ministers meeting since the last one held in New York last September. This next foreign ministers' meetings is the first ministerial level international meeting held since the occurrence and expansion of COVID-19, and there is quite a high interest on this. Therefore, we will believe that it is very timely to have a face-to-face exchange amongst the foreign ministers of four nations who have the same aim on issues that became prominent from the occurrence and expansion of COVID-19 in response to regional situations. Also, given this opportunity, I am planning to have bilateral talks with State Secretary Pompeo and all of the other foreign ministers. Free and open Indo-Pacific vision is increasingly its importance in the post-COVID-19 world. Therefore, at the next foreign ministers meeting, we would like to confirm the importance of further deepening the collaboration amongst us and many more countries to realize the vision.
If you have any questions, please raise your hand, come forward to the microphone, tell us your name and organization before asking the question. IWJ Kihara-san. The microphone may not be switched on. The microphone seems not to be switched on. Please switch on the microphone. Kihara, IWJ. At the Ministry of Defense about the Aegis Ashore, the land-based is to be cancelled, but as a replacement, there is a discussion about establishing the strike capability of foreign bases. But on top of that, there are plans to bring it back offshore. according to the parliamentary discussion, not only the Ministry of Defense, but is related to the overall Japanese diplomacy and could have a major issue. Just in case between China, should there be a battle, it could be destroyed inevitably, but despite that possibility, regarding possible retaliation, no discussion takes place, and security, rationality, or economics are not being fully considered. So this is because you are trying to follow blindly the request of the U.S. to buy arms from the U.S. Regarding Suga administration, do you intend to continue simply to follow the request of the U.S.? I want to ask the view of the Foreign Ministry. Regarding the Aegis Ashore and its alternatives or replacement, already so far at the National Security Council, for many times, diplomacy, security, and multifaceted discussions have taken place. Based on that, at the Ministry of Defense, going forward, they will continue what can be done. As you are aware, regarding multiple issues, of course, the government must have to consider, and at the Japanese Parliament, if there are opportunities of questions and deliberations, there will be careful responses and discussion. That is the policy of the government. Until the Parliament start, that there should be no discussion, no in-depth discussion by the government before the Parliament discussion. That would be even more irresponsible. Next question.
I'm Yamamoto from NHK. I would like to ask about the warning on infectious disease level being eased. Within the immediate press conference after the new administration has started, you have mentioned about this. However, at this point, what will be the timing of easing the warning, and what will be the details? Will you be easing the level next month? Since the start of the Suga administration and at its first press conference regarding the warning on infectious disease level, since COVID-19 has occurred at the beginning of this year, the global situation and restrictions on traveling situation, we have been keeping a close eye, and we have been gradually easing this warning. Currently, close to 160 countries are restricted as level 3. And currently, globally, there are regions that are still continuing the spread of the infection. However, on the other hand, there are regions that the spread is declining. And regarding the restrictions on traveling, it is starting to be gradually eased. So given this situation, this warning on infectious disease level, regarding this warning itself, people who are planning to travel or be assigned to overseas, what will be the risk and danger level? The purpose of this warning to notify these people what the risks are. And depending on the situation, increasing the level and decreasing the level will be determined. As a result, increasing the level of the warning of infectious disease and the restrictions on entering Japan, measures were taken. However, we would like to keep a close eye on the COVID-19 situation, how it will change. And regarding this restriction level being eased, we will be considering easing. However, to what country or from what country or at what timing, those specifics have not been decided yet. Having said that, if I may repeat myself once again, easing the warning on infectious disease levels, each country's or each region's COVID-19 situation, how it is going to settle, keeping a close eye on that is what is important. And Ministry of Foreign Affairs is collecting the information on a daily basis, easing the travel restrictions or towards the recovery of the economy. There are business needs, and we would like to keep a close eye on those too. Either way, to resume the traveling of people in and out of the country, we need to have a balance with the avoidance of spreading COVID-19. Therefore, it will not merely simply be just easing this warning on infectious disease level, but it needs to be combined with countermeasures. And regarding this, how are we going to resume the traveling? As a government, we would like to thoroughly review that. Thank you.
Next question, yes, please. Moriyama, Yomiuri Shimbun newspaper. My question is the relationship between Russia. There is a leaders' summit telephone planned this evening. Territorial issues resolution, conclusion of the peace treaty, the fundamental policies of Abe administration is to be continued. But can you tell us your view about how to deal with that talk? About what you have discussed between Russia, about Prime Minister Suga's intention with various countries he is engaged in leaders' telephone talks. Going forward about possible telephone talks, there are reviews of possibilities or coordinations are ongoing. In the case of Russia, the position of Japan is there is no change in our position that we emphasize Japan-Russia relationship. There are political issues including conclusion of the peace treaty or in the area of economy, culture, and others. The relationship overall will be developed in alignment with national interest. The position of the government is to resolve territorial issues and to conclude a peace treaty. This is the unchanged fundamental policy, and we will continue our tenacious effort under this.
Next question, please. Kyodo News, my name is Takao. I'd like to ask about Japan-China relationship. Last week, Prime Minister Suga and President Xi Jinping had a telephone conference, and they have confirmed the close relationship at a high level. And at that timing, State Councilor Wang, there are reporting that he may visit Japan next month. Can you mention on that? China is the second largest economic nation in the world, and the Japan-China relationship is one of the most important bilateral relationship for Japan. However, having said that, there are various concerns between our country and China. Therefore, we would like to utilize the high-level opportunities such as the foreign ministers meeting and leaders meeting, and we would like to make a clear claim on the items that we need to, and also resolve these concerns one by one. And the basic thought is to ask for positive response from China. I myself and State Councilor Wang has been having meetings 4 times of actual meetings and 4 telephone conferences, and have been communicating. The last was in Beijing, and he actually treated me to dinner. And regarding State Councilors Wang Yi, it is not that specific schedules has been discussed.
Thank you, Mr. I'm asking Khaldun Azhari, Pan Orient News. Just to follow up on your notice about visiting Saudi Arabia. What is the foundation of Japan's foreign policy toward the Middle East in general? I remember last administration, you had a basic policy toward the area, especially easing the tension and increasing the stability. Is that changed in this administration, or it's going to be stronger? Thank you.
On the Middle East affairs as a whole, the position of Japan about reducing the tension in the Middle East to firmly advance these efforts, there is no change in the fundamental position. Japan depends on the Middle East for about 90% of crude oil import, and therefore the peace and stability of the Middle East countries continues to be extremely important for Japan. In the Middle East, the infection of the novel coronavirus is continuing to expand. At the same time, a very intense situation continues. There are a large number of complicated dynamics in the region. Japan is an ally of the United States, but at the same time, we continue favorable relationship with each of the countries in the region. Under the new administration, we will continue to ease the tension and stabilize the situation. We continue to approach and appeal to relevant countries at different levels. As for myself, even after the spread of the novel coronavirus, I have been engaged in telephone conferences with foreign ministers of different countries, including Israel, Jordan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar. I have been talking on the phone with such foreign ministers. I have been trying to communicate about a variety of issues, including the Middle East regional affairs, as well as measures against the virus. As I mentioned at the outset, by the end of this week, I shall be visiting this year's G20 presidency and also the key player of the Middle East region. I shall visit Saudi Arabia. Not in the far future, I wish to exchanges of opinions with foreign ministers of the members of the Arab League and reconfirm our close relationship to resolve the challenges.
Yamamoto from NHK. At the beginning, you have mentioned about the quadrilateral meeting between U.S., Australia, and Japan. Are you coordinating for a Prime Minister a courtesy visit to Prime Minister Suga? Prime Minister Suga, while he was a chief cabinet secretary, when he visited the United States, he has met with the State Secretary Pompeo. And this time, for Japan, the extremely important ally nation, United States, and Australia and India are going to join, who are sharing the same value, and the foreign ministers have the opportunity to visit Japan. And of course, there are schedules for the individual foreign ministers, and I think it's meaningful for them to meet the Prime Minister.
Further questions? Yes, Mr. Kihara, please. Kihara, IWJ. Earlier, there was discussion about Minister Wang visiting Japan from China. I did not say so. I did not say so. I already responded. I did not say so. That you are coordinating? Excuse me? I mean, you said that you are not coordinating. Specific date is not under coordination, which means that the possibility of his visit, it is not known at this moment. I have already responded. But about the possible meeting, there is a media report that there could be a meeting. On that occasion, about the Senkaku Islands, it is reported that it might be on the agenda as a possibility, and the importance of maintaining stable bilateral relationship might be on the agenda according to the media report. If that is the case, based on the wisdom of the forerunners of China and Japan, what about putting aside, shelving the territorial issues? Or rather than that, would there be a confrontational stature? And then the United States, they are trying to take more hardline vis-a-vis China. It again looks like following the U.S. position. What is your view? If I may say so, first of all, it is not decided that there will be a meeting. I do not want to respond to hypothetical question. If no more question, thank you. End of the meeting.